Welcome to the agency's online rent supplement claim system. This new online system replaces CMHC's Forms A and B. In this video, we will show you how to log in the rent supplement claim system, enter information for the first time on units, housing charges, utilities, and households, update information previously entered, and submit a rent supplement claim. If you want to follow written instructions on using the online system, there are links to a user guide on each page of the system. In this section, we will show you how to log in to the rent supplement system. You will start by using the secure link you receive in the AIR and rent supplement reminder letter that the agency sends your co-op 1 month before the end of your fiscal year. Enter the same username and password your co-op uses to access the client section of the agency's website. The only people who can use the rent supplement system are people such as staff and your auditor, who you have authorized to access this confidential information. Once you have entered your username and password, select the Rent Supplement tab. Click Go To for the year and program you want to access. If you are a management company, select a co-op from the list. The second step is entering housing charge details such as the unit type, size, as well as whether utilities are included or not, and information on utility charges and allowances. We'll assume that this is your first time using the system, which means that you will automatically be brought to the housing charges screen. This is one of the options in the housing charges drop-down menu. Update the housing charges listed on the page by clicking on the amount in the housing charge column and entering the housing charges at the beginning of the current fiscal year. When you have updated all the housing charges, click Save and Refresh. If this is a mid-year change in housing charges, click Enter a mid-year change in housing charges located at the bottom of the page. A new column will appear called New Housing Charge. Enter the effective date and the new housing charges and click Save and Refresh. In this next step, we explain how to update utility allowances and utility charges. You will follow these steps the first year you are entering information in the system. You start by choosing Utilities in the Housing Charges drop-down menu. You will need to enter the utility allowance and utility charge for each unit type. The charge or allowance depends on the services provided and paid for by the co-op. Enter the values that were in effect at the beginning of the fiscal year, and if no charge or allowance applies, just enter 0. Update the services included in housing charge by clicking on the appropriate boxes. Continue entering information for each unit type. Click Save and Refresh when all the amounts are entered. If this is a mid-year change, click Change under the Action column on the left and enter the effective date in the pop-up calendar. Update the utility allowance and utility charge and services included in the housing charge for each unit type. Click Save, or if you make a mistake, click Cancel. Click Save and Refresh when all the amounts are updated. For the second and subsequent years, the values for the utility allowance and utility charge are carried over from the previous year. You simply need to check that the values match the charges that were in effect at the beginning of the fiscal year and make necessary changes. This section explains how to enter co-op units in the first year. Make sure you enter every unit in your co-op, even units with no rent supplement. It's best to follow the order used in your records. The same order will be used in the online system as well as in the reports generated from the system. We will also explain a little later how you can change the order of units. Let's begin. Start by selecting co-op units in the Housing Charges drop-down menu. Click on Add New Unit on the bottom left of the screen. Next, enter street number, street address, and unit number. Choose the right unit code for the unit from the drop-down list. The unit code drop-down menu is based on unit types and housing charge information previously entered in the Housing Charges Summary tab. If you are missing a unit code, you can check the accuracy of the entries you've made already. If you still don't see the code you need, go back to the Housing Charges Summary page and check the information there. Click Save or Add New Unit. If you make a mistake, click Remove. To insert a row, click Insert on the row above. When you add a row, the new line is pre-populated with the street number and street name from the previous row. Just click on the street number or street name to enter a new number or street name. Repeat these steps until you have entered all the units. Click on Save and Refresh on the top right corner when you are finished entering all the unit information. You'll only need to make changes on this page if there are errors, your co-op gains or loses units, or you want to change the unit order. If you want to change the order of the units on the list, hover the cursor near the report order number you want to move. Then click and hold the left mouse button while you drag the line to another row. Finish off by clicking on Save and Refresh at the top right corner. After you complete entering unit information in the co-op unit list, you'll be ready to enter information on households receiving rent supplement assistance. We explain how in the next steps. This section explains how to enter information on households receiving rent supplement assistance. Make sure you have completed the previous steps of entering unit information in Step 4. In this step, you will be entering information on households receiving rent supplement assistance. You will enter data on the number of people living in the unit, their income information, and other information like surcharges, secondary occupants, and more. You will begin by selecting RS units. Next, you will click Go To next to the address for which you want to enter information. This takes you to the Rent Supplement Claims page. Click to select to enter the effective date. For most units, this will be the first day of the fiscal year. A pop-up calendar will appear. Enter the date that the change is taking place. Now you are ready to enter household information, such as the number of people living in the unit, their income, and whether there are any secondary occupants. On the Household ID drop-down list, select Create New. Enter the household name. This can be any name that is convenient for the co-op. It is highlighted blue because it is confidential information that only you or your auditor can see. The agency and CMHC cannot see household names. Next, you will enter the number of people living in the unit. This includes all adults and children. Click on Save and Refresh. You will see that the system generates a unique and unchanging household ID. You can change the household name, however, take note that all instances, past and future, will automatically change to the new name. Then, you enter the date of last income verification. Now, we're ready to enter information on the household's income. You will see unit information appear after you have entered the household information. Start by clicking on Add a Family Unit. If 2 or more families live in the household, enter each family unit separately. Next, click on Household ID and select the one available option. Effective date displays and no action is needed. Then, you select the family unit type from the drop-down menu. Next, click on Social Assistance and choose the option that applies from the drop-down menu. For Ontario users, enter the number of social assistance beneficiaries. Remember that this includes the main recipient. If applicable, enter the number of dependents. Then, enter the names and monthly adjusted income. Finally, click Save Family Unit. In this next step, we will show you how to add a dependent that is considered a secondary occupant with income. Start by selecting Add Secondary Occupant with Income. For PEI, this is called Add Child with Income. Select the effective date from the drop-down menu. Next, you will enter the name and monthly adjusted income. Finally, click on Save Secondary Occupant. If 2 or more families share the unit, you need to click on Add a Family Unit and follow the same steps we explained earlier. In this next step, you will be entering rent supplement information. The utility allowance and utility charge amounts are carried over from the co-op unit information you entered earlier. If applicable, you will enter an overhousing surcharge. Then, you will enter the monthly assisted housing charge. The rent supplement amount is automatically updated once you move to another field. Make sure to confirm that the calculated rent supplement amount matches the co-op's records. If you want, you can add notes in the notes box. To make the notes area bigger, click on the bottom right corner while holding the left mouse button. Next, you'll enter completed by and position. You only need to do this once during each session. Finally, go to the top of the screen and click Save and Refresh. To enter information on another unit, select Go to List of Units. In this section, we will walk you through some different scenarios where there are changes to household composition, income, move-ins, and move-outs. Only enter changes in household composition and/or income that result in a change to the assisted housing charge. These scenarios all start at the Rent Supplement Claims page, where you go to the list of units and select the applicable unit. In this first scenario, the household's composition changes. Start by going to the Rent Supplements page and selecting the unit in question. Click Change to the right of the effective date columns. Select Click to Select to enter the effective date. Next, select Household ID. Select the same ID as the one indicated in the column to the left. Remember that you always have to select Household ID when making a change. Update the number of people living in unit. Add the date of the last income verification. Next, update the income information section, including changes in income, going on or off social assistance, and any changes in the number of dependents. Finally, click Save and refresh. In this section, we will walk you through the scenario of an entire household that moves out. Click Change, which you will find to the right of the effective date columns. Next, select Click to Select to enter the effective date. Then, select the applicable option from the Household ID drop-down list. If another assisted household doesn't move in immediately, select the rent supplement option that applies to your province and to the unit. If there's any kind of rent supplement continuance, you will need to write a note in the Notes section explaining the reason for the continuance. If another assisted household moves in right away, select the household ID of the incoming household. It should be on the drop-down list. Note that a household that is changing units must be entered as moved out of the old unit before it becomes available on the drop-down list to be moved into its new unit. Otherwise, select Create New and follow the steps from earlier. Click on Save and Refresh. In this scenario, we show you the steps to follow if a family moves out of a unit with multiple families. Click Change to the right of the effective date columns. Next, select Click to Select to enter the effective date. Then, select Household ID, which is the same as on the column to the left. Remember, you always have to select Household ID for any change. Then, you update the number of people living in unit. Next, enter the date of the last income verification. You will see a checkbox located below the new column, which is called Remove this family. You will click on this checkbox to remove the family. Lastly, click Save and Refresh. In this scenario, we show you the steps to follow if one of the parents from a two-parent family moves out. Start by clicking Change to the right of the effective date columns. Next, select Click to Select to enter the effective date. Then select Household ID, the same ID as the column to the left. Then you click on Save and Refresh. Update the number of people living in unit, followed by the date of the last income verification. On the Remove this family line of the two-parent family, click on the checkbox under the new column. Next, click Add a family unit. Then, select the applicable household ID. Next, click on Effective Date. Select One Parent Family from the drop-down menu. Complete the rest of the items for the remaining members of the family. Then, click Save Family Unit. If one or more dependents are secondary occupants with income, select Add Secondary Occupant with Income. A secondary occupant is always counted as a dependent and is listed as a secondary occupant only if they have adjusted income. Click on Effective Date. Enter the name and monthly adjusted income. Next, click Save Secondary Occupant. Then, click Save and Refresh. In this section, we cover general information such as where to view a list of households receiving rent supplement assistance that are entered in the system. The RS Households page allows you to view all households receiving rent supplement assistance that are entered in the system. You can view or update household information by clicking on Go to any listed household. You can also view, add, or modify notes for a household. These notes carry forward from year to year. You can also sort the list by household ID or name. You see that the household name and notes are highlighted blue. This is to indicate that this private information is protected and not visible to the agency or CMHC. The RS Units page allows you to view all units with rent supplement recipients. You can display all units, only rent supplement units, or only non-rent supplement units by expanding or collapsing the title. This concludes the tutorial video on the agency's rent supplement claims system. This information is also available in a written user guide, and you can find links on each page of the rent supplement system.